today we are going to talk about matter, its states, and its properties. So what is matter? Well, matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. So the air that we breathe, our pet dogs, our school books, even ourselves, we are all matter. Matter is made up of tiny particles called elements, so tiny you can't even see them. And the smallest particles that even make up the elements are atoms. Everything is made up of different kinds of atoms, and that's what gives it its properties. And these properties could be size, shape, texture, color, taste, sound, smell, and many other things that we can use our senses to observe and figure out. How the elements react to each other define what the state of matter is, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So there are 5 states of matter, but we normally just talk about 3 main ones, and those are solids, liquids, and gases. And the other 2 are plasma and beam, but we're not going to talk about those today. So let's talk about solids. Solids keep their shape. Let's think of an example of a solid, a chair. So within a solid, molecules are grouped together really tightly and they're hard to move around, and that's why it takes its own shape. For example, something like a chair, it's not changing shape as you drag it around the room. It stays the shape of a chair. Now let's talk about liquids. Liquids take the shape of the container they're in. If you're pouring in water from a jug into a glass, the water will take the shape of the jug, and then as it's poured into the glass, will change into the shape of the glass. The molecules inside liquids are further apart than in solids, so they can move around a little bit easier. Not quite as tightly packed as solids, but there's room to move around. Next are gases. Gases fill the space that is available. So like when we breathe air, air fills up the room or outside around us. And molecules in gases are spaced out very far apart, and they move around quite freely. They jiggle around. They have a lot more space than liquids and definitely than solids. Let's think about the states of matter in terms of water. So what is the solid form of water? That's right, you guessed it, it's ice, right? Ice is a solid form of water. When we freeze water, it takes the form of ice and then it becomes a solid. When we melt the ice, it turns into liquid water, and that's the water that we use for drinking and washing our hands, and that's the liquid form, right? We drink water out of a glass, it takes the shape of a glass. We use water in the shower, and then if we add heat to the liquid, then it turns into water vapor or steam, which is water's gas form. So if you have something really hot, or if you see a pot of water boiling on top of the stove for dinner, the steam that's coming up, now that's water vapor. That's the gas form of water. And as I just talked about with water, many things can change from the different states of matter by taking away or adding energy. So for example, when we freeze water, we are taking away energy. But when we add heat to it, it melts, we're adding energy back. And that's how objects change into the different states of matter, by adding or taking away energy. So finally, I want you guys to think about a couple of important questions that I want you to answer on your own time. What are the 3 most common states of matter? That's right, solids, liquids, and gases. Number 2, what is matter and what is it made up of? Nice! It's anything that takes up space and has mass, and it's made up of tiny particles called elements. Number 3, are balloons gases? This was a tricky one. Balloons are actually made up of tiny pieces of rubber, which are solids, but the helium inside of a balloon, that is a gas. Number 4, Do liquids have their own shape? No, they take the shape of the container that they're in. Number 5, what is an example of a solid? You're right, so many things in our lives are solids. Furniture, books, toys, TV, clothes, pets, those are all solids. Nice work. Now we're going to do a little demonstration of how all 3 states of matter can exist in one spot. So for the demonstration, I'm going to use a mug, water, and a tea bag to show how all 3 states of matter can exist together. So I have heated up my water. You can see some of the steam coming out, and I'm going to put my tea bag in to make some tea. So who can guess what each of the states of matter are? Well, the mug is the solid, right? It holds its shape as a mug. It is hard and very tightly packed. The liquid is the tea. It is taking the shape of the mug. It's a little bit brown colored, and yeah, it's definitely a liquid. And what is the gas? Well, it's the steam you can see coming off of the top of the mug. So all 3 states of matter can exist in one place.